Good day, Dr. Titch here. It's good to see you. Welcome, and let's have a great time in the Word. Let's inspire, challenge, and encourage one another in the work of the Lord. I'm excited every time I have an opportunity to share the Word with you. And thank you so much for all the feedback that we're getting, the notes, the comments, the emails, the inboxes. They're really encouraging. I'm reading Masters of the Economy, and there's a power statement I want to hit you with here. Every human being is created by God, has value in them, and the marketplace is a place where the value is exchanged for value. That's powerful. Every human being is created and they have value that is within them that is able to change and impact the marketplace, and you can go to the marketplace, a place of exchange of value for value. We began to talk about the garden, the marketplace, the ecosystem yesterday in our session on financial success. And I established a number of very important principles, and I want to do just a quick review. But before we do, I don't know if you've ever read this book, or you bought this book, or you have this book in your library. This is probably one of the most important tools that you need to redefining your economic status as a believer. And for your kids, here's what we've got for your kids. For 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, this is a brilliant tool. It can also work for younger children, but they will need heavier parental presence and guidance. This is Millionaire Kids Club Volume 1, a brilliant tool that will help your children develop the right mindset or blueprint regarding their financial success, and it'll equip them for influence in the marketplace. You have all kinds of things that they'll do as exercises here that will provoke some thinking. What do you think you were born in the world to do? What do you enjoy doing even if you are not going to be paid? What do you do without getting bored? What are you most creative and intuitive in? What do others like the most about you and celebrate the most? In other words, you're just doing on one page, you're doing a quick review of discovering the stuff that is most outstanding about who you are. And now to bring the kids and the parents and the young people all together, we have Mitch the Millionaire. Mitch the Millionaire is a brilliant tool. This game has changed hundreds of lives. It's ministering to so many people that are beginning to learn how to get themselves out of debt into financial success and financial freedom. The board game is a brilliant learning tool that will just take you on an amazing journey of financial learning. You're playing a game, and we play it in financial years. That's the start point right there. And as you play and go all the way around, you come back and you play first financial year, second financial year, third financial year. So you're learning all kinds of powerful principles. And from the cards, my goodness, you're able to buy Dubai, you holiday resorts, and you can go into industrial parks and learn all kinds of amazing principles. You're learning tips like wisdom principles like, what is an asset? An asset is anything having commercial value that is owned by an individual, an institution, or a business. Do you know what an asset is? You're an asset. You may have some assets. We began to talk about assets yesterday in the session, and we'll talk about that again just now. And here's another interesting phrase. We talked about this yesterday as well. Compound interest. What is compound interest? Interest earned not only on the original investment or borrowed, but on its accrued earnings as well. Now, this is compound interest on an investment. You're earning interest on the amount that you have invested. But compound interest can also bite you from the negative side. If you buy a vehicle on debt, a house on debt, or a product on debt, compound interest is the thing that you're going to be paying for the larger part of your time with that institution. So it's important to understand some of these things. So Mitch the Millionaire is available. Go to our website, mitchthemillionaire.com, and you'll get more details. Now let's get into the lesson. And I'm going to start with a quick review. We looked at Genesis chapter 2, verse 8 to 14, where the word of God tells us God put the river in the garden, and the river split up into 4 rivers, and those rivers covered the whole of the garden. In other words, the analogy we picked out of that is the one river, your job, your current income can split up into 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, many revenue streams, and that will begin to encompass your jurisdiction, your garden, or the place that you function and operate, an ecosystem of exchange of value for value. That was brilliant stuff that we learned yesterday about the 4 rivers. Then we looked at 2 Kings. And the 3 instructions: the widow the debtors had come to collect her sons to pay the debt that her late husband had accrued. And the compound interest was affecting her, the lack of assets was affecting her, and she didn't know she had an asset in her home that was about to create interest and money and value for her. The instructions were, go borrow vessels from all your neighbors, borrow not a few. She went out and borrowed, poured the oil, 2nd instruction, and go and sell, 3rd instruction. You have the ability to sell. You have the ability to connect with clients and create revenue streams beyond just the one thing that you're doing in your job or in your career. Your key to financial freedom and financial increase is discovering your ability to sell a product. So let's go over to that part of the lesson. We said poverty is not a lack of resources, but it is a lack of ideas that have a marketable value. You can find products in your home, in your wardrobe, in your mind, in your life, in the circle of people around you. There are needs and there are problems. Every need that exists, every problem that exists is speaking to a solution that is within you, that when you provide that solution, there is an exchange of value for value. Now, this is already brilliant teaching. This is what we should be teaching in school. This is what should be. In fact, right here in this boardroom, I do lessons with the kids. We run a school right here. And we do business coaching and financial success for the kids. And I teach them these very principles. And it's amazing. They tell us things must be age appropriate. I'm telling you, some of the kids that I'm coaching right now understand fully exactly what we're talking about. Some of them are already monetizing their YouTube channels. They're already creating revenue. They're already business oriented. Somebody told us a lie that children cannot understand these principles. That's a lie from the devil. In fact, let me tell you a little story of something that happened earlier this year. While I was coaching, we developed a business concept with some of our students. And we went over to one of the local banks, and I'm not going to mention which bank it is, but I do remember getting there and sitting there and said, we've come to open a business account. So they looked at them in their school uniforms and they said, are you guys at school? And they said, yes. And they said, how old are you? They were 15, and 16. And they said, no, we cannot open a business account for you. That was very interesting. So I said, why? It says, well, you're underage. We can only open business accounts for people that are 18 and over. So I asked the bank teller and I said, are you serious? Is that a policy? And she says, yes, that's a policy. As banks, we are not allowed to give you business accounts. Now, here's my big question in response to their policy. If we can allow kids to have consensual sex at the age of 16, but they cannot open a business account until they're 18. Are we saying sex is better than being in business? What are we communicating to our kids? We need to learn the principles. But anyway, that's just one of the things that really stirs the juices in me to say our system is wrong. Let's teach our children the right stuff. Let's expose them to the right knowledge, investment, finances, creating assets, understanding interest, compound interest. Poor people pay interest, rich people earn interest. These are the lessons that we should be teaching our children, because some of us as adults don't even know these very basic and very important lessons. An economy is the production and the distribution of goods and or services for a marketable value. Now, That can range from you being a CEO, you being a salesperson selling cars, houses, or whatever it is, or it can be as simple as you being a receptionist, typist, secretary, till operator. You need to move from the mindset that I am employed to the mindset that I am deployed. If you're deployed, then you understand that I'm here on assignment, I'm here on a mandate, and my mandate is simple: to provide the services of being a cashier, a till operator, a typist, bringing order and structure and capturing information. So you begin to sell your goods and or your services for a marketable value. That is why we have secretaries that are paid 5,000 Rand, but we also have secretaries that are paid 50,000 Rand, but we also have secretaries that are paid 500,000 Rand. What's the difference between a secretary who gets paid 5,000 and one who gets paid 500,000? It is the value that they have placed in the goods and or services that they are providing. This is good. But anyway, we began to talk about the different areas of creating wealth, and we said number one, a job, earned income that you work for. Number two, profit, earned income that comes from goods and or services that are working for you. Number three, interest. This is earned income from your money working for you. These definitions are very important. Go back to yesterday's session and you'll be able to catch the full lesson. And then number four, rental income. Earned income from your assets working for you. You need to get to a place where you have assets working for you. As simple as having 100 books in your collection and you rent those books for 10 Rand for a week. That's rental income that's coming in. Rent equipment, rent some resources, rent some skills, rent something and make some rental income. Assets can range from a house to an industrial park to a car or to even simple business equipment. Anything that somebody may need in order to achieve whatever they want to achieve, that becomes an opportunity to rent them something, and that becomes a revenue stream for you. Now, having built on this simple lesson, I want to conclude today because I want us to really come to a place where we understand something that's very important. Let me just put up fresh notes quickly here. Up something that is very important. Here it is. There we go. You're asking, but I'm stuck in a job, I'm stuck in my career, I'm stuck in this. How do I move? I'm going to give you tomorrow, I'm going to give you the rest of those, but I felt I needed to pause here and just help you to understand how to move yourself to your next level. Here we go. Success. 2 to 5% of the people will succeed. Some people have considered average living a normal existence, and that's not your portion. You are one of those people that has been following these teachings. You're already inspired, encouraged, and you believe that you can make a difference in your financial status. So the first place that you need to visit, I always tell people that my favorite movie is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I want to bring out something, just one quick point that is so important. That's the principle of imagination. The principle of imagination simply says, up on the screen, it says, think the picture into existence. You've got to think it into existence. Now, if you watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he takes the boys, the children through the factory, and one of the rooms is an imagination room, a creation room, a vision room, a room where new ideas are coming up, and that's the room where they're working on designing a chocolate that can be transferred via television from one location and to your home, and you can just grab the chocolate from your television and so on. Very interesting concept. But the fact is, they had a room where imaginations were being developed. If you're going to break out of poverty and lack, you are going to have to develop in your life an imagination room. How do I get to have multiple revenue streams or multiple incomes in my life? It's your imagination. Remember the story of the woman that we spoke about? She said, I have nothing. Then she says, oh, save a pot of oil. She thought she had nothing. She thought she was a failure. But that one pot of oil was the one defining moment or product that changed her life. So you've got to think the picture into existence. So now to get your different revenues, whether it's rental income, it is earned income, it is interest, or whatever it is, you're going to have to say to yourself, what product can I bring to the table? You're going to have to begin to imagine, create ideas in your mind, think the picture, financial picture into existence. A couple of sessions ago, we talked about you setting financial goals. What do you want this year to look like financially for you? Do you want to make 1 million this year, 10 million this year, 100 million this year? Now you've got to say to yourself, how can I think this picture into existence? You begin to imagine, you begin to play around with thoughts in your I do this for every one of the books that I've written, for every one of the businesses that I've designed and created, for every one of the products that have come out of us, including Mitch the Millionaire, the game that I've just showed you. Now, it was imagination. 2 years of imagining, 2 years of writing down, 2 years of working on, thinking on, and processing information until the product, like it says up here, into existence. Point number 2 there says plan. That means put a strategy in place, plan and write, and then think again until it begins to take shape. Develop your thoughts and keep on writing. We call this process thinking on paper. Thinking on paper. You may use apps, or you can use Simple Mind or Mind Maps, or you can use just a simple picture paper, an A4, A5, a large piece of paper, A1, just put pictures there. What are you doing? You're imagining, you're creating a reality in your mind that you can begin to manifest on the piece of paper, and then very soon you can transmute it into its material equivalent. It's a process, it's a process, it's a process, a step-by-step process of getting your imagination working for you. Get your imagination to work for you, not against you. And then it's also important to then discover or realize that there's 2 types of imagination. One is called synthetic imagination, one is called creative imagination. Synthetic imagination basically is synth, S-Y-N-T-H, is taken from a word that means to put together different ideas. Like a synthetic fabric is a combination of different fabrics. Synthetic hair, synthetic nails, it's a combination. Synthetic sound or a synthesizer that you play as a keyboard is bringing together different sounds to bring out a whole new sound. So synthetic imagination says, I've got my pointer here that moves my slides for me on my computer. So this was a product of synthetic imagination. Somebody knew that there's a button to move back and forth, and they said, what if we take that concept out of the computer so you can walk around while you're doing your communication and use this? This is synthetic imagination, a product of synthetic imagination. Creative imagination is when you bring into existence something that didn't exist before. When we got into the telephone industry, it was a creative imagination that says, I can talk to somebody from afar. And creative imagination then said, okay, how are we going to do it? We need a receiver, we need an earpiece, a microphone, and we need cabling to take the signal from one point to another. And that was done. That was creative. Then we came to the age where people were now looking at things like cellular phones, or even before that, we still had landlines that were connected wirelessly. You could carry it around your house based on a transmitter and a receiver. That was synthetic imagination. Then we came to the cell phone generation, where we had the big bricks. That was synthetic imagination. Then we moved on to the phones that had the smaller, neater, pretty looking, but they had the buttons. And then Steve Jobs comes and takes smartphones to another level. So he brings on creative imagination, mixes it up together with synthetic imagination. Then we come into the iPhone era. So you see the development of ideas. It takes imagination. Each one of those generations made money with their imaginations, with their ideas. And Apple happens to be the first company that has broken over into the millions, into the trillions, pardon me, simply because of the power of imagination. Your imagination is important. Your imagination is vital. Make use of it so that it creates wealth for you. Join me tomorrow as I give you the last 3 revenue streams, and that's going to be fun. You're going to learn how to create the big bucks now, how to step into that space where you have lots of money. And that's the space that my wife and I and our family have stepped into with the movies and the Mitch the Millionaire game. And I'm going to tell you how that works so that you can begin to create ideas for your next financial level. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Titch coming to you live, sharing a word that I believe will change your financial status. God bless you. Have a great afternoon. Click share, like, and follow us in all our platforms. God bless you.